What keeps you giving your best? Good Monday morning! Welcome to episode 7, season 2. Arnie Manzano here, and I hope our time together inspires you to live more of the discipled life. Thanks for tuning in. This podcast is available wherever you listen to your streaming audio. I want to give a shout out to a listener and friend, Janae Jimeno, and she writes this about our podcast. Open quote, powerful message. Hear more inspirational stories of real people. It's nice to start our work week with positivity and good vibes. May you feel blessed as you listen to this podcast. Good Monday morning, everyone. Close quote. Thanks for this message and review, Janae. And for all of you, you can also write in your review over at Apple Podcast or on social media. I truly appreciate the support. We continue to celebrate International Women's Day this March here on Good Monday Morning. Today's guest is a young, brilliant business analyst who is also taking up her postgraduate studies as a scholar here in Singapore. Her story will inspire you to always give your best and not give up on your dreams, but trust the Lord at all times. Here's Kendra Gadong. Good Monday morning to you, Kendra. Thank you for joining us for today's podcast.
And good Monday morning to you, Pastor Arnie, and to all our listeners. And maayong aga sa tanan.
Yes, Kendra here is originally from Iloilo. What is one delicacy in Iloilo that you miss now that you are based in Singapore?
One delicacy that I do miss, Pastor, from Iloilo is the laswa. It's my favorite dish. It's actually quite simple to cook. Laswa is just a vegetable soup, but it has a different consistency as our typical vegetable soup. So with that and sinugbang bangos and rice, that's perfect for me. And I'm hungry na right now.
I know you miss your family back home. How often do you call them or video chat with them?
Usually every week we do a video chat or just anytime we just send to the group chat like, oh, I've done this. Oh, I just took my exam. Oh, can you please pray for me? And I also pray for them that they are safe and back in the Philippines. But it's also spending time with them, even just online, that helps me not to feel that homesickness.
And I know you had a very tiring and trying week because you just had your exams.
Yes, I just had my midterm exams last week, and my schedule was quite crazy. I would study until 3, 4, 5 a.m. But with God's grace, I survived that week, and now I'm here to share my story.
Yes, that's great. I mean, exams are given so that we could know if we are ready to level up, right?
Yes.
And how long have you been here in Singapore again?
I've just been here 7 months already. I went here August to start the term. So I'm currently studying a postgraduate degree
Mm-hmm.
for Master of IT in Business in SMU. So our term started last August, and I'm now in my second term. So just finished my midterms also. So 7 months in total.
And how has that 7 months been? I mean, when you arrived,
Mm-hmm.
so that was August last year, all this COVID-19 happened, circuit breaker happened.
It's funny because when I went here, I had to do the 14-day stay home notice in a hotel. So I had
Mm-hmm.
14 days to kill time. It's a good thing that our classes haven't started yet. So I just had to go on Netflix and spend time, go on Zoom with my family and friends. But I really enjoyed the food. I was introduced to a lot of Singapore local dishes already in my stay home notice. So that was fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
And one thing that is interesting about you, and this is also going to be the first time that probably I'm going to hear the totality of your story, is you've always been a scholar. If you are a scholar, then definitely that means you are smart. You're brilliant.
I'm just blessed.
So
Pastor.
if you could tell us that story on, your journey in being a scholar, or how has that happened? What were the measures that you did, or what were the things that you need to do, grades that you need to maintain, stuff like that?
I studied primary school and secondary school in a public school, and I had to move to Manila to pursue my undergraduate degree in statistics in UP Diliman. So I had to apply to scholarships and source a lot of foundations or government agencies that give out scholarships. So in for my undergraduate degree, I was a scholar of the OST, and we were chosen based on merit because I was part of the top in high school. So
Yes.
during also my college years, I had the opportunity to be an exchange student in Japan to study Japanese language and culture studies. And I also applied for a scholarship. So I'm a very strategic person, Pastor. So I had to look for a lot of scholarships or a lot of
Mm-hmm.
offices that would offer these scholarships to those who deserve it and those who are not able to finance their studies. So I was blessed to be part of that program also to study Japanese language, culture, and studies in Nagoya, Gakuen
Mm-hmm.
University. And when I graduated college, I still worked for around 2 years in a bank. And I really wanted to study again. It was
Mm-hmm.
really me wanting to learn more, to go back to the classroom and learn new skills in analytics. So after working for 2 years in the bank, I decided to pursue a postgraduate degree. And that was last year. I searched online to a lot of schools, to a lot of government agencies if they offer scholarships. And it was this school, SMU, that had an exclusive scholarship for Filipinos. And so I applied for it, and it ticked all three boxes that I had for a postgraduate degree. So one is in an English speaking country.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, in a degree that I want, so business analytics or statistics. And three offers full scholarships. So it ticked all three, and I went to an info session in Makati, and they talked about the degree, they talked about the school. So it really pushed me to apply for it, and and now I'm here in Singapore
Yeah.
studying this degree. Yes.
You just mentioned a while ago something interesting, that you said you wanted to go back to like the classroom. Isn't it amazing right now that the four walls of the classroom is like the four walls of the screen,
Yes.
or the four
Yeah.
borders of the screen? Because now, because of what happened, like the pandemic, right? It kind of shifted, or gave people new ways of learning. Not that online learning was not existent before, but now it's really becoming mainstream, that
Yes.
you can learn, or you can go to school in your own home
Yes.
and study online. But the good thing about what you're doing right now as your scholar here in Singapore is you still go to class, right?
Mm-hmm. I
And also
see.
part of your curriculum is you actually work for a company. That's part of the program, right?
Yes, it's a
So
different
how do you balance your
experience.
time?
I don't. I'm just kidding.
Good answer.
So, in a day, Master, I would wake up, I would give a prayer, Thanksgiving. I would try to squeeze in a workout. I like to work out and then have breakfast. And then I would start my work. Thankfully, we're still working from home these days. From 9 to 5:30, I would do my work as an intern in consumer analytics.
I see.
And I would, send reports, make graphs, create PowerPoint presentations for my boss. And after that, I would go to school since we already have face-to-face classes from 7 to 10:30 p.m. evening classes. And then I would
Wow.
go home around 11 p.m. And I would usually, when there are exams, I would study until 3 a.m. because
Wow.
there's a lot of things to cover, especially in a postgraduate degree or the course. It's a very rigorous course that expects us to output these types of business reports, these types of papers. So it's so much different than my undergraduate degree, but I'm grateful for that opportunity of also having the internship with my school that I could apply what I learned in school directly to the
Yes.
internship. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess doing that actually practices already the theories that you've learned in school,
Mhm.
and you get to remember it, I think, quickly because you were able to apply it almost
Oh,
instantly.
yeah.
What is your favorite subject?
Yes, Pastor. So I really love
Recess?
yes, recess. I really love mathematics ever since high
Mm-hmm.
school. And I, along with my teammate, would compete in mathematics competitions. And I also had a statistics class in high school before, which I really liked. So I pursued that
Mm-hmm.
degree in college. I really
Wow.
love numbers, Pastor. It's how the numbers really tell you something to make decisions to the business.
In a way, I'm imagining this image of like the beautiful mind, all these equations and all these numbers, or like even the matrix, like all those numbers raining
Yeah.
down.
Hmm.
Okay, you've just told us about your schedule, like the work and the studies. So what do you do in the weekends? Do you still do work? Or you what do you do to unwind?
It's a good thing that I don't have classes or work on the weekend. So I spend time with my community, with my housemates. It's to explore Singapore, or to do groceries, do chores. So I still have to do a lot of those housework here since living independently really helps you, you know,
Grow up.
grow up.
Mature.
Yeah.
Yes. And you're very young. Remind
Yeah.
me, how young are you again?
I'm 24. 24.
Wow. 24. What was I doing when I was 24? I think I was about to get married.
I'm also praying for that, Pastor, but maybe not at
Okay.
this season. Yes, I'll finish my degree first.
My podcast is not about dating, but if there's someone who would like to get to know you, I know they could always look for you on Instagram. So, Kendra, growing up, I'm sure you felt some pressure to keep that scholar status. So, I would say not all pressure is negative, right? Actually, some pressure is good to motivate us, to push us forward, to achieve something, right?
Mm.
Was there something in your childhood that gave you purpose or gave you that sense of, I really need to keep on doing this, to keep being a scholar?
Actually, Pastor, growing up, I came from a broken family. My parents separated when we were quite young, and I was around first grade in primary school at that time. And it was really our mom that single handedly raised us for five children. I am the fourth among the five siblings, and she really found means to provide food for our tables, to sustain us, and to fund our education, which was primarily the reason why she put us in good public schools. And at the same time, we had that responsibility as students to do our best in our studies and keep our grades up, since that would be the only way we could get
Mm-hmm.
scholarships into reputable universities. And looking back now, it was God really revealing himself to us that not only is he our heavenly father, but He's our ultimate father and our father that will protect us and
Yes.
provide for us. And I'm amazed how we were all scholars and now graduates of the university. My three older sisters are graduates of Ateneo de Manila University with a full
Wow.
scholarship in their tuition fees and dormitories. I was a scholar of University of the Philippines, and our brother was also a scholar under a football scholarship in Arellano University. And I am amazed how God just reminded us that although we may feel like we were broken, we are complete in Him. He just
Yes.
reminded us to trust in His plans, to lead us to the right schools, to meet the right people, and to trust in His right timing. I'm just amazed now, Pastor, and every day of our lives, how He has been so faithful that He showered His provisions and blessings in our family.
Great. Wow, that's amazing. I like what you said that sometimes, yes, we are really broken or we've gone through some difficult times, but it is God who completes us. It is God who makes us whole. So, being a scholar since you started schooling, did it ever cross your mind to just be average and not give your best? I mean, what keeps you being excellent?
What keeps me doing my best, Pastor, is that motivation and that support that not just my friends give me, but my family and the community around me. It's having that support group that reminds you that you are destined for more. But most of all, it's really God's goodness, God's grace in my life that I am able to do all of these. He has put me in this position. He has given me all these talents, these
Brilliance,
really
smarts.
all this knowledge that I could share this to other people and that this be used in a good way. And so he said in his word in Proverbs 16:3 that commit to the Lord whatever you do and he will establish your plans. So I am just
Yes.
really encouraged by this word, Pastor, that this is not me. This is not how I do my day or how I think I can complete this mathematics problem in a minute or so. But it's really God putting me here and instilling this motivation and encouraging me every day to keep going and to share this talent and knowledge with other people.
I hope your family is listening to this podcast right now, Kendra. So this might be a good time to show them your love and honor them publicly over the streaming airwaves.
Knowing how supportive my family can be, not only are they listening to this podcast, they're probably already sharing this podcast to their friends.
Thank you.
But thank you, Pastor. I would just like to take this opportunity to honor my family, to my mama, Bem Bem, to my sisters, Karina, Katrina, and Kara, and to our brother, Raf. I am grateful every day that God has given me this family, this gift of family, and you guys have been my support and motivation and inspiration since day one. I pray that God will bring us all together again. And I honor you guys and I love you guys so much.
All right.
It's a funny thing, Pastor. I'd like to share this story. How I came here in Singapore because it wasn't smooth. Because
Tell
it
us about that. I mean, I was about to
yeah.
ask you the challenges that you faced, or probably the greatest challenge yet that you've faced and how you've overcome that.
Mhm. So it was around again March last year that I decided to pursue the degree and I was still working as an analyst in City. There were rumors around that there was going to be a lockdown in Manila. So I was working in Manila and my mom told me to just book a flight to go home to Iloilo because all my sisters will be going home. So I booked a flight around March 14th. And when I went home to Iloilo, the president announced the lockdown on the 16th. So thankfully, I was locked down in Iloilo. I get to spend time with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I had to study for the GMAT, the graduate school admissions test, and even with working from home full time. So I had to study for that, and it was a lot of rescheduling of the test because the test centers were closed, and I had to take the exam online. They just I had a camera in front of me, and they would
Yeah.
monitor whether I would like cheat and look left to right, and they would prompt me that that's not allowed.
Wow.
Again, it's rescheduling of the exams. At least I uh, got the chance to come home to Iloilo, and when I submitted my test results to the school, and around May, first week of June, they announced I had an email saying that congratulations, you have been selected to receive
Mm-hmm.
the Richard Limby Scholarship, which was for the degree that I wanted. And when I went back to Manila, so I had to pack everything because I
Yes.
had to go to Singapore on August. On August 1st, I flew to Singapore, and August 2nd, our president again announced a lockdown and a ban of all flights. So I am just
Wow.
reminded how God really orchestrated
Yes.
this path for me to be here at the right time. It's really God's grace in my life that I'm here pursuing my dream, pursuing this degree. So I should really just do my best in what I do, in studying, in working, because it's God that has put me here.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing that God really works? His timing is perfect. His ways are perfect. Imagine you could have been locked down and not made it, but you're now here
Yes.
and sharing your story with us. This might be too early to ask, Kendra, because you're still, in the midst of your studying. But what's your plan after finishing your studies here in Singapore?
I'm still praying for what God can reveal on his plans for me after graduation, but hopefully land a job here in Singapore, Pastor. But if God calls me to come home and work there, then I would just go home.
Kendra, as we're winding down our time together, I have a set of questions here I call a speed round. And
Oh.
just give me your quick answers. And
Mm,
maybe I'll ask you also to explain some of them, okay? I know
okay.
you like music. So name a song on your current playlist.
I'm a fan of Lady Gaga, so a song
Wow.
in my current playlist would be Rain on Me by Lady
Oh.
Gaga and Ariana Grande. It's a good mood booster song that I like to play also when working out and to dance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You said you've watched during your stay home notice, you've watched series or movies. Can you
Mhm.
name one that really made an impact?
I watched Coco
Oh,
again and again.
yeah.
One of my favorite
I
movies.
love that too.
Because
Yeah.
it really tells us a lot about family and
Yes.
to treasure our family, not just the ones who are here, but those who have passed as well.
Remember me. No, 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 no. One new thing you've learned to do recently.
Okay, so with this pandemic, Pastor, I've learned how to cook. Because
Wow.
before in the dorm, I'm, I don't know how to cook. I would just cook eggs and pancit canton, the
Mm-hmm.
typical college food, college dorm food. But now I learned how to cook herb chicken, pasta. It's also with the help of my housemates here, and they're really
Yes.
good cooks. That's why I learned a lot from them.
And that's where I first met you when I visited
Yes,
your home
yes.
and spent time with you and our friends from church
Mhm.
where you served us
Paris.
pares, beef pares. Amazing, amazing.
Oh,
Y-
unlike Pastor, I had to cut the boiled egg. It was really hard.
yeah, I noticed those hard-boiled eggs were sliced to perfection with, I think, some mathematical equations involved. So, Kendra, Last question. One lesson you've recently learned and want to leave our listeners with.
So I'm currently reading a book called You're Made for a God-Sized Dream by Holly
Wow.
Bird. And this sentence really struck me. And I also want this to encourage other people that you have what it takes to make those dreams come true because you have a limitless God living in you. So it's really encouraging me in my studies, in my work, to just keep doing my best because it's really God living in me, living in us, that will take us to that extra mile and reach our full potential.
Kendra, thanks again for spending your morning with us. And I do hope to see you again and hang out with our friends from church.
Yes.
So maybe you would like to give them a shout out.
Okay. Like to give a shout out to my housemates, to Ria, Lay, and Shine, also to my LG, Ate Aisha, Kuya Dave, Liza, and Cha.
Yes. So beef pares soon, mga kapatid.
Yes, hopefully next time again, Pastor.
The first part of Romans chapter 12 verse 6 says, open quote, in His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. Close quote. The Lord has blessed every one of us with talents and gifts that we could use not just to benefit us, but more importantly, to help create value for others. Whether you are a beneficiary of a scholarship or the philanthropist that gives, the employee that silently does his work well, or the parent that lovingly and tirelessly raises up your kids, one way or another, you are called to serve, you are called to love. Led by God's Holy Spirit, we can use our knowledge and skills to ultimately bring glory to Him. Verse 11 of the same chapter in Romans says, open quote, never be lazy, but work hard and serve the Lord enthusiastically. Close quote. Whatever you do, may it bring life to you and others, and honor to the Lord, the giver of all good things. I hope this episode was inspiring. Share it with others who need some encouraging. Follow us on Facebook for daily inspirational content. That's it for today. Have a good Monday morning and a blessed rest of the week.